Hey everybody, Hoople's Cat. Joe Primal was asking me online in the comment section about tendonitis. I believe it was tendonitis. I think he was specifying the knee. So I thought I'd do a quick bit of a video on that. There's a lot of controversy, for obvious reasons, about naturopathy. I don't believe in that myself, but also natural methodology in terms of treating ailments, and tendonitis pretty much is a common one. Chondroitin is well known and well used. Some people have great results with it, other people have zero results, so play that by ear. So I reviewed a bit of stuff online, so I thought I'd go through it. When Leslie fractured her foot, she bought these, and what these are is actually prevent or protect from bone osteoporosis or that sort of a thing, which might be useful as a general thing. No surprise to me, vitamin D3 and potassium, calcium and magnesium. And okay, so let's get into the controversy bit. Rest, using rice and all of that stuff, exercise slowly, take your time, all that stuff if you do have tendonitis. I think people know that. Pretty much everybody does recommend an anti-inflammatory diet. Pretty much everybody has different opinions on what one is. The majority of people say you should maximise your intake of leafy green vegetables for this, and that's a good thing to do. They're also kind of keen on increasing proteins, omega-3 fatty acids, so almonds and grass-fed beef, etc., are recommended. Increasing zinc intakes recommended, vitamin C is recommended, high potassium, high magnesium is recommended. Now this is where we get into the interesting part. For most people, most of the time, the only thing we're really going to probably be short of in North America is vitamin D. So the only thing I specifically take for tendonitis would be vitamin D, and I wouldn't take too much, but I might consider doing that. I think the rest of the minerals, trace minerals, you're going to get by just increasing fruits and veg that's organic. I don't think that's going to be a big deal. Now, bone broth, if you want to eat bones and stew it up, has natural collagen in it, which could be helpful in repairing tendons. Could also be helpful for tendonitis and strains. No surprise, don't drink, don't take caffeine, don't overdo salt, don't have sugar, and do not have hydrogenated oils and fried foods. You will, but there you go. Now, general immune boosting for tendonitis is pretty much a good idea for most situations in shtf, or if you're not feeling well, like me right now with cold. Omega-3 fish fatty acids, fish oils, omega-3s, any sort of form of collagen, most of the essential oils like peppermint and coconut oil is also recommended. For dosages, look it up online. I don't really want to get into that because I'm not really sure. Now, glucosamine and chondroitin supplementation, I've used them with my dogs and it's kind of worked. There's a lot online that says it doesn't do nothing for tendonitis, but I think it's cheap enough, it's worth a try. Interestingly for dogs, cartrophen, which is extract from shark fins, actually either does nothing or works brilliantly. I've had it work brilliantly for an old dog. I'm not really sure if the vet's going to give you an injection of that, Joe. So vitamin C supplementation, everybody always goes for vitamin C. Pretty much you don't need it. If you're short of vitamin C, you're going to have loose teeth and probably bleeding gums and some other signs and symptoms. And if you have those sort of things, you probably need to take a lot of vitamin C. But generally speaking, in our normal health, our tendonitis comes from old injuries and age. So vitamin C supplementation is probably not going to do a heck of a lot for you. As I said, everybody I could see does recommend green leafy vegetables and fruits and vegetables. Should definitely be part of everybody's diet every day. So that's always a good idea. Now, you might hear people saying to use manganese. Now, manganese is fairly expensive and you can get vitamins with manganese in it, and this guy doesn't actually use that. But to be deficient in manganese is almost impossible. So you probably don't need to supplement with it. Try not to be definite here, but I'm trying to figure out things you can actually do that might help. So I'd try chondroitin and glucosamine I would probably supplement with vitamin D. I would consider eating more green vegetables and more fruits like strawberries and black currants. I would rest the area as much as possible. I would use ice and maybe bandaging as well to help out. What else could you do for tendonitis? Let's see what the people say. Well, healthy diet means nothing. What is a healthy diet? We can argue about that all day. They don't really buy into collagen-rich meat. They're not really a good thing that you'll need to eat. But if you have access to sheep testicles, hey, boil them up and eat them. But they're probably not going to do anything. It's not how it's going to work. So the tendon's connected to the bone and then connected to the muscle. So it's usually an overuse or repetitive strain of both issues. So the real thing you want to do is to avoid doing that, and if you do that, you're going to be prone to it for the rest of your life probably. So if you do have like I have actually a weak tendon in my wrist, and about once every 2 or 3 years it really hurts, and I've learned that put the ACE bandage on and take an anti-inflammatory for a while, and for a couple of weeks, long after the symptoms have gone, and it's fine. When the pain and symptoms have gone with tendon injuries, you tend to use them straight away, and they tend to re-injure straight away. Yeah, so that's probably that. What else does the world say? There's a lot of controversy. Eat right, rest, gentle exercise, use bandages, use ice therapy if it's available. The tendon, if it ruptures, will need surgery. So in grit down, you really don't want to have a tendon rupture. So if you have an Achilles tendon that's known to be weak, you have to be very, very careful. Traditionally, they will actually rupture out of the blue, and you'll hear the pop, and then your foot will just be dropping like this. The reason for that is that the tendon is now disconnected from the bone. Disconnected from the muscle is possible, but highly unlikely. Or the tendon itself is just ruptured and broken and split in two. You're going to have to rest that and have surgery. I think without surgery, you're probably going to be crippled in that limb for the rest of your life. So don't be jumping, aggressively doing exercises on limbs that you know have problems. And if you know that you always chop wood with your right arm, try and consider getting somebody else to do it some of the time, or try using the left arm, or try using a different technique. Mix it up. So that's basically all it is. Good luck, Joe. Hope you don't get tendonitis. It's a good question, and I'm sure everybody's going to have an opinion on what works for them, or what worked for one of their members of their family. And I would encourage them to put it below, because I think with this sort of a thing, we are a unique person, each of us, and what works for one will not work for another. But yeah, again, we're talking plant strong diet, Joe, sorry. Now in terms of anti-inflammatory, I don't think Advil and ibuprofen, which is the same thing, should be used if you're over 40 years of age. I have real concerns with that. I'm very concerned about what that could do to the body. There's a lot of research out there, there's a lot of money being made on these medications. In terms of anti-inflammatory, there's really not a lot wrong with good old-fashioned aspirin. Yes, you can have a brain bleed from aspirin. It's pretty rare. There's nothing wrong with buying normal cheap aspirin and cutting it in half and having one every couple of days as an anti-inflammatory idea. It is known to be bowel protective for bowel cancer and a couple other things as well, so it's worth a look at. If you do have an aneurysm in your head, or have a family history of massive hemorrhage and a stroke, think hard and long before you take aspirin. But most people, most of the time, I think it's a good thing to have, and I would stock quite a lot of it. Now if you stock a lot of aspirin, be aware when you open aspirin and it smells of vinegar, do not use it. It's one of the very rare medications that will go off, and will go off in a way that will really make your life unpleasant if you take it, but it's really obvious. You open it up and it smells of vinegar, discard the aspirin. The other thing that's common, I think, is statin use. Statins to drop animal fat, cholesterol byproducts in people's bodies. So if you're on a statin, go vegan and get off it. If you are on a statin, it will do quite a lot of nasty damage to a fair number of people over time. And one of the nasty damages it does, it will actually cause tendon failure. Maybe failure is a strong word, but tendinitis can definitely be linked to statin intake. So I don't know if you're on statins, Joe, or if the friends who have tendinitis were on statins, but that would be definitely a normal and expected side effect of statin use. Anyway, hope this helped. Have fun. Toodaloo and au revoir.